My name is Nassine Sabs.
Let me ask you a question. Has anything ever happened to you that you couldn't explain? That made you feel sort of foolish when you tried to tell somebody about it? Well, if it has, you have plenty of company, as you'll soon see.
What I'm going to talk to you about today comes from my heart, from my experience in life, from playing this role as messenger, which I take very seriously. What I'm going to talk to you about today comes from my heart, from my experience in life, from playing this role as messenger, which I take very seriously.
And I saw the most incredible thing that I think I've ever seen in my life. And it had such a profound effect upon my view of the universe and the world that we live in, that I wish everybody could experience this. And I saw the most incredible thing that I think I've ever seen in my life. And it had such a profound effect upon my view of the universe and the world that we live in, that I wish everybody could experience this.
The secret government was an amalgamation of Bill's continued research into UFO phenomena and was first introduced at the MUFON Symposium on July 2nd, 1989 in Las Vegas, Nevada. The document highlighted his research into the UFO crash in the late 40s in Roswell, New Mexico, and documents that alluded to President Truman's knowledge of extraterrestrial life and his administration's efforts to keep it quiet. Cooper had seen these documents while serving in naval intelligence.
But eventually, when they began to have confidence in me, I began to see things coming across my desk that were just absolutely incredible. And a lot of it is really hard to talk about because it's so far outside the normal concept of reality for the average American that they're going to find a hard time believing any of it. Yes, that were just absolutely incredible. And a lot of it is really hard to talk about because it's so far outside the normal concept of reality for the average American that they're going to find a hard time believing any of it.
Well, that's all, folks, and I think I better leave some time for Al Bailey, and I better munch a sandwich before I become an alien. Anyway, I've heard people can get killed if they see too much of the mountains, so prudence is the word.
That's right.
Gotta use prudence. So, and anyway, I was getting cold. It's 20 below zero out there, for God's sake. So all I have to say, it's just an amazing Christmas present. That's all I'm going to say. Merry Christmas to you all, folks.
So we'll begin first with the major topic I've been wrestling with, fallen angels, and how they enter into what we're seeing on the world stage. So from the Bible, we know that fallen angels from Genesis chapter 6 mated with humans, and the symbol I use for fallen angels is FF. I'm just following genetic guidelines. For human, I use HH. Now we know that the fallen angels were created directly by God. They have no father or mother, but I'm just following the general genetics symbols. As in humans, this would indicate the father is human and the mother is human. So if you had a cross between them, that would make a hybrid fallen angel with human. We call them from the Bible Nephilim. Over time, they have interbred with other humans and made, I understand now, there's a top level 1, that's 13 bloodlines. And then a second level, 13 bloodlines. And this is the one we're most familiar with, the Rothschild and the Rockefeller banking families. But there are other families in this group. But these are the ones I'll be talking about today. So we see fallen angels mated with humans. And now we'll talk about, so we have hybrids. Now, according to Deuteronomy chapter 23, it says they will be bastards until the 10th generation. That means if you only have one incursion of the fallen angels, all the rest through 10 generations are with humans. By the 11th generation, then this hybrid can receive the Spirit of God and transmit and receive from God via the bloodline, the DNA. According to gene decode, that means this individual has 52% human DNA. And so now we'll look at what are the numbers on Earth. And this also comes from gene decode. And I use some math information from Trey Smith, another Christian author. That we have on Earth, I'll use a population number of 10 billion. Now, gene decode says 30% are fully human on the Earth, and that would be 3 billion. So that leaves 70% not fully human, 7 billion. Now, my perception is the number out of this total, the number that are at least 52% human and can receive the Spirit of God is roughly about 3 billion. So that leaves 4 billion on Earth who do not have the Spirit of God in them. They are not redeemable and not human. I think that's an important distinction to make. So am I saying the Rothschilds and the Rockefellers are not human? That they carry the Nephilim bloodline? Yes, I am.
Governor Battle, Governor Allman, Congressman Jennings, Congressman Downing, Congressman Gary, your distinguished national committeemen, Congressman Hardy, ladies and gentlemen, as the Democratic standard bearer in 1960, I come to the mother of the Democratic Party, Virginia, and ask your help. I am honored by the generous introduction of your distinguished former governor, and I am proud to sit here on this platform with leaders of the Democratic Party of Virginia.
Consequently, I believe, as an article of my faith, that there are individuals on the earth today who are, for a lack of a better term, divinely ordained in their position of power. And I don't know if that makes me happy or not, but I'm smart enough to accept it and realize that, I guess for a lack of a better way of saying it, someone has to run the world. And if they are here, and they have come here from another place and another time, they have extraordinary wisdom, power, and knowledge. And Consequently, I don't see them, if this be true, this is just an article of my belief, but if this be true, that there are entities here who are not completely human, but who are a combination of the divine and human, then I see no problem with this. I accept that there are powers over us, and I think that they will reward you for your diligence and your intelligence. If you intend to be stupid, then let them.
Doyle Shamley, a Gulf War veteran and Army reservist, had paralleled Bill's quest for answers. The two met at a research conference Doyle had been arranging, and soon the two became tight research allies. Doyle would eventually leave the reserve and join Bill in Arizona to conduct full-time research up until Bill's death.
Then he realized his research at the time was heavily with Lars Hansen and many of them in the UFO realm. And he realized that most of them, and a lot of them upon admittal, and I have the documents, admitted to working for, either in the past or still being on CIA payroll. And he exposed them heavily, speaking engagements, and accused them of falsifying facts, as they called them, to steer people away from an eventual finding out of all the facts and send them down all these wild goose chases.
Either these men are following the book of Revelation. The book of Revelation as it is in the Bible.
Mm-hmm.
They're either following it, just like a plan, and bringing the prophecies in there to pass to manipulate and control those who believe in those prophecies and neutralize them, so to speak. In other words, if this is written in the Bible and God has ordained it, who am I to resist? It must come to pass, so I'm not going to try to stop it.
Okay.
What a perfect way to neutralize the opposition right off the bat. Or there really is a God, and what he said was going to come to pass is coming to pass. And I name this, Behold a Pale Horse, from chapter 13 of the book of Revelations. The fourth horse, the fourth horseman of the apocalypse is the pale horse. And I looked, and behold a pale horse, and his name that sat upon him was Death. And hell followed with him, and power was given unto them over the fourth part of the earth, to kill with sword, and with hunger, and with the beasts of the earth. And that is taking place now today. The fourth horseman is riding across the world now. That's what AIDS is all about. That's what all these little brush fire wars all over the world are all about. That's what's happening. That's why cancer cures are suppressed. So it's not hidden at all. It's there for anybody who wants to look. And I get people who still come to me all the time and say, Bill, you're all wrong. It's the Jews. The Jews are subverting the world. Man, it's not the Jews. It's not the Catholics. It's not the blacks. It's these men who belong to the ancient mystery schools, who meet in secret and decide the fate of the world. And they belong to all different races and all different nationalities and all different religions to the public point of view. But in secret, it's a different story.
Bill's second major contribution, and arguably his most compelling, was the 42 hours worth of dedicated broadcasts into the history, origins, and agendas of secret societies. The series was simply called Mystery Babylon, and began with an interpretation of the Stanley Kubrick classic 2001, A Space Odyssey.
So we'll begin first with the major topic I've been wrestling with, fallen angels, and how they enter into what we're seeing on the world stage.
It's ridiculous, and I shudder to think that in the beginning, when I first came public, I may have been misleading somebody along those lines that this whole thing is being brought about by extraterrestrials.